Good afternoon, my students, my dear students of SS2. I hope you are doing fine this afternoon. We have to continue with the Nazi Party and with Adolf Hitler. Now, remember last time I told you that because of the failure of the Munich Putsch, Adolf Hitler and Ludendorff were imprisoned. Even though Ludendorff was discharged and acquitted, but Adolf Hitler was charged under treason and was given 5 years imprisonment. Though he did not spend these 5 years, as after 9 months he was released. Now, we were told that while in prison, he wrote a book with the title Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf in English means my struggle. Mein Kampf. Now, what was the Mein Kampf? Mein Kampf with the author Adolf Hitler. He wrote this book while imprisoned, and Mein Kampf simply means my struggle. And Mein Kampf, was like the Nazi Bible, because everything about the Nazi Party was contained in this book, the Mein Kampf. Because Mein Kampf was an emblem. It was a mixture of autobiography and the policies of the Nazi Party. It was a mixture of autobiography and the policy of the Nazi Party. When I talk of autobiography, autobiography and biography. Autobiography is something which is about somebody, a piece of writing or information or legacy about somebody who is still alive. Meanwhile, biography is the same thing, but at this time, when you are dead, they talk about your biography. So the Mein Kampf was, like I said, was a mixture of autobiography and the policies of Nazi Party. Nazi Party's activities or the objectives of the party, everything was contained in this document. And what you should understand is that the Mein Kampf was a book with so many errors, grammatical errors, spelling errors, and word of humor. It was a book with so many errors, which was not even edited, because Hitler wrote the book himself, and what he thought and wrote down was what he published. And many people bought this book. Many people bought this book because he carried out propaganda. I told you that Hitler was somebody who could speak. He was an orator, somebody who could speak, and because he was a public figure, he was like a propaganda machinery. He could speak and attract crowd. He was like an orator, if you know who an orator is. And the Mein Kampf outlined the objective of the party and how the party will go ahead trying to achieve this objective. That was the Mein Kampf. They call it the Nazi Bible. The Nazi Bible. Everybody in Germany, many people needed this copy. It becomes a bestseller copy. Everybody wanted this Bible, this book, because I told you that the Weimar Republic was so unpopular. Weimar Republic could not handle the problems facing Germany at that time. So the Germans needed somebody with an iron fist. The Germans needed somebody with a firebrand fist. And there was nobody. Most of those people at that time, like von Baden, who was appointed the chancellor, other people, like all of them, never had that tact to, bring the much needed solution to the problem the Weimar Republic was facing. So Hitler, from his propaganda and from his posters and everything, proved to the Germans that this is the person who has come to right the wrong of the Treaty of Versailles. So, but the initial stage of it, the party was not very popular because by the 1920s, 1930s, 2930s, the party was not popular. It went to an election and could not score any substantial vote because the party had not gained membership, as we shall see later. So by the 1930s, the party was not very popular because remember, Hitler came to power in 1933, even though before coming to power, he had already taken over from the party as the party leader, and everything about the party was controlled by Adolf Hitler. So we're told that the Mein contained everything that the Nazi party had as agenda to rule Germany. Now let us look at the Nazi tactics. What tactics did the Nazi party use between 1924 and 1929? What tactics they use? One, they actually spread it out, their policy of nationalism and anti-Semitism. Nationalism is what? The feeling of belonging to a country. That Equatorial Guinea is my country. No more, no less. So nationalism means the feeling of belonging, the sense of belonging to Germany. That I am a German and I will die for my country. I will die to defend the interests of my country. So they preach these two principal policies, nationalism and anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism, or in another word, means the hatred for the Jews. The hatred for the Jews. That Germany is only for the Germans. So the Jews were expelled. They were killed in their numbers by Hitler and his SS arm of stormtroopers, and then even the Slavs, because we had a big population of the Slavs inside Germany. So Germany was for Germans. That was the slogan preached by the Nazi party. So it made the Germans very happy with such a party. So many Germans, because we're told that membership rose from 3,000, and by 1929, membership has gotten up to 100,000 men or followers. So it tells you that gradually, between 1924 and 1939, the party was gaining popularity as many followers joined the rank and file of the Nazi party. Many followers, many people, orators, intellectuals, writers, men of God, they joined the rank and file of the Nazi party. As we shall see later, how the Nazi party will score a landslide victory during an election. But before 1930s, the party was not very popular. So Hitler and his peers used this period to revise all of their policies. To revise their policies and that of Germany, so that within time they will gain popularity. So they left no stone unturned. They revised the policies of the Nazi party in order to gain popularity. They carry out propaganda. What is propaganda? Propaganda is like telling people what you are going to do, what you have for them, what you have as an agenda, the kind of changes, the kind of reforms which you have to change or to bring to the people, the kind of thing that will be provided to the people. So that is propaganda. And all of these things were put in all the corners of Germany. There were posters that were put everywhere on the streets, on the big house, tall buildings, major places like market areas, church streets, and other areas of catchment, other catchment areas. Posters were printed, and the pamphlets were written about the Nazi doctrine. Pamphlets, what is a pamphlet? Pamphlets are those brief writings, summary of writings that are contained in the book form that you can easily read and understand. Because the Mein Kampf was a very big, voluminous textbook full of mistakes. So pamphlets were written by writers, at least so that it could facilitate reading and understanding, and by so doing, bring about the popularity of the Nazi party. Their slogans, in the form of slogans. You make a slogan. Vote for the Nazi party. A vote for the Nazi party is a vote for change. A vote for the Nazi party is a vote for universities, free education. A vote for the Nazi party is a vote for distribution of resources, distribution of wealth, distribution of grains, food items, distribution of land. You're given land. So they came up with some of these slogans that were so catchment, that were so interesting, and attracted the attention of an ordinary German who saw the Nazi Party as the only party that has come to better their conditions. They saw the Nazi Party as the only party that has come to change their lifestyle. So, by 1929 to 1930, we saw that the followers have increased from 3,000 to 1924-25 to over 100,000 people, giving the Nazi Party grounds, preparing it for an election. So, we realize that the only time the party could test its national popularity was during these elections, which came thereafter, as we shall see in our subsequent lectures. So, I just wanted to bring this to you. Why did the Nazis have little success before the 1930s? Why did they have little success before the 1930s? I've just explained to you that the party lacked popularity. It lacked popularity by 1930s. It was not popular. Many Germans had not known about the party. So it was very, very not popular. And this was reflected in the elections, where the Nazi Party scored only 16.5% in the election, 1928 elections. But after the 1930s, we saw the party started gaining ground because Hitler did everything possible to come to power. By killing, he doesn't care. Brutal murder, he doesn't care. By hanging, he doesn't care. So many people who could not accept the Nazi doctrine escaped to nearby European countries. It is true that the Nazi Party succeeded, but all was not well in Germany. Because the youth, Hitler had made the youth, everything about the Nazi Party was a doctrine in Germany. Even in class, a teacher teaches in class, before you leave the class after lesson, you have to bow and say in the name of Adolf Hitler. Before you even sleep in your house, you have to give prayer sermon for the Nazi Party to survive. So it makes the Nazi Party become like something which was inside somebody. You only reason the Nazi Party. You reason only the Nazi Party. You were forced to do it because any enemy of the Nazi Party, any critic of the Nazi Party, at any time you can be silenced by the arm of stormtroopers or the SS, the arm of stormtroopers. So, given all of this, after 1930s, we saw the popularity of the party and it's coming up, and it got to a point where it could now contest for the seats that were in the Riksdag. Riksdag means what? The German parliament. And we shall see this in the next class, how the party was able to challenge older parties in Germany, and most of the leaders of those parties in Germany were killed. They were targeted and killed. Those who could not support escaped to other countries. And when they escaped, or some of the leaders that were killed, the parties now started going down because the leaders were not there. And the German or the Nazi Party gained ground and won most of the seats in the parliament to form a government, as we shall see in our next class. But I will tell you, please keep reading because it's very important, mostly for you SS to, Maria Jesus should read, Cindy, who should be reading, Obama should read, because this is what I'm telling you. And if you read, you understand, you will not lack question to answer in your Cambridge exam. Daniela, I hope you are reading. I have seen, Daniela, your work, but your work is not complete. You sent your question or your response, your homework through the WhatsApp, but I have been able to look at it, but I did not answer all the questions. So please, people should send your question, and you should learn to answer questions fully. Because asking your question fully, you are reading and becoming more used to or versed with what you are supposed to know in your own or at this level. If you don't answer question, You don't even read to make research and then you write something for the judge to assess the work. You remain so narrow in your reasoning, and that will be reflected in your exam. While others who are making research will be scoring A grade, B plus, and B, you'll be there struggling to score an E. An E, just let my people go, just for a neck to be above the water level, which is not good. So you should read, because we as teachers, or myself here, my humble self, I'm doing everything possible as my own quota for your success, and the rest is on you, because I will not come around for you. I'm just giving you what you are supposed to know, and then you have to read more to sharpen your imagination. So thank you, students, for being there. Obama, Daniela, Cindy, and Maria Jesus, thank you for listening. Thank you for any questions that you have. Please endeavor, read. If you don't read, you cannot ask questions. But if you read, you can ask questions. That's why most of you do not ask questions, even when we had these face-to-face classes. You cannot ask because you don't read. Everything is being discussed by the teacher. You transform the classroom to a church where only the man of God talks or speaks, no one talks, which is not correct. But then I hope people will change this time and start preparing for their exams. Thank you for being there, and until we meet again, God bless you. Bye-bye.